Jan, are you there?
Yes สวัสดีค่ะ everyone
สวัสดีค่ะท่านอาจารย์ Okay, so we can start the discussion. Since no one has raised up their hands for questions, so I will ask a question on behalf of many because someone was wondering about that in one of our recent discussion. It's about ayatana. Could you please tell us the significance of learning about ayatana? What are the ayatana? Thank you.
there are so many realities but what has to be there at that very moment the meeting point otherwise there cannot be seeing or experience any object at all so now at moment of seeing there must be jakku see jakku pasada is the special rupa. It cannot be seen, but it's there. When there is seeing, because the object has to impinge on it. Otherwise, there can never be seeing, and that which appears as what is there right now. That's why even Jakku Pasata has to be there, arising and not falling away yet. And the object which impinges on it has to be there, not fallen away yet. And it conditions citta, a moment of seeing only, arising to see and gone. But the rupa is still there, hasn't fallen away yet. That's why the other moment and whatever moment, what is there has to be the ayatana, each one as meeting point or meeting condition to condition just a moment of experiencing an object. That's why we can understand at moment of seeing how many ayatana are there. See, it has to be there at moment of seeing. Even it does not appear, but it's that which has to be at the meeting point to condition a moment of seeing. And we learn more about ayatana because nothing can arise without conditions. Sankhara Dhamma, Citta condition Cetasika condition Citta, Sahachanta Pacaya, arise together, experience the same object, and then fall away together. That's why a moment is there. What is there is ayatana. So a moment of seeing, what are there? Seeing and Jakupasata and the Rupayatana and Dhammayatana and Citta is Manayatana. See, four are there as ayatana. So when there is the very firm understanding of ayatana, each reality needs conditions for its arising. Each moment is different. So what are there in a moment at a moment of experiencing an object? We can learn little by little about ayatana. If we talk about Dhamma in general, Citta, Cetasika, Rupas in general, we don't talk about just that in a moment. It has to be there. Seeing has to be there. The object has to be there. And the pasata rupa has to be there. And Dhammayatana, Cetasika has to be there. What are there is ayatana. So at moment of seeing, of hearing, Jakupasata is not ayatana. At moment of seeing, Sotapasata is not ayatana. And the object is different too. To understand that even just a moment, even it's so very, very short, but what has to be there? As ayatana. Even the rupa, at the rupa also arises by condition, by by kamma, by what and what. But what is there at that very moment when seeing is there, hearing is there, for example? So, can there be a little more understanding, considering about that a little more?
So at moment of seeing, the chakku pasada is ayatana. The object, the visible object is ayatana. The chitta is ayatana, and that it's manayatana. And the chittasika is ayatana to the dhammayatana. So I'm thinking about at the different moments in the same seeing process. For example, at the sampatichana and the santirana chittas, is the rupa, pasada rupa, still the ayatana? Dạ, con xin nhắc câu hỏi của con để cho người rõ hơn là như vậy thì trong cái ta cũng biết là ở khoảnh khắc thấy thì nhãn căn là xứ, đối tượng thị giác là xứ, nhãn thức là xứ và nó có tên gọi là ý xứ Manayatana, và các tâm sở thì là pháp xứ Dhammayatana. Và câu hỏi của con liên quan đến những cái tâm khác trong cùng lộ trình nhãn môn, ví dụ như là tâm tiếp nhận và tâm suy đạt chẳng hạn. Thì khi ấy cái yếu tố sắc là nhãn căn nó có vẫn là xứ hay không? Achan, did you hear the question?
About ayatana?
Yes, about the moment of santirana and sampatichana and other chittas in the seeing processes. At that moment, is chakku pasada still the ayatana?
Without chakku pasada, can there be that which experience the visible object?
Cannot.
That's why at moment of sampatichana, the rupa hasn't fallen away yet.
Right.
And without the chakku pasada, can there be any moment impinge on the eyebase to appear to see? That's why it's not matter at all. Just think about what is there in a moment. That's why we can say, is that moment pasayatana? At moment of seeing, is there pasayatana?
No.
Why not?
Pasaya, yes. Yes, pasa.
It has to be there.
Right.
Hiện giờ không có ai dịch của Achan cả.
See, that's why we have to be sure about what is meant by ayatana. What is there at that very moment? We can say in all Dhamma yatana. But when we talk just about one reality like Phassa, it has to be there. So at any moment, Phassa is ayatana. Right? But at moment of seeing,
Chị Tâm với Hải vào dịch rồi ạ.
But at moment of seeing, it's not just Phassa as ayatana. It needs the object and the pasada, rupa, see, to be there too at moment of seeing. And when we talk about it at that moment, Neva Sanya, Na Sanya, Yetana. See? Otherwise, how can we understand what is the meaning of Neva Sanya, Na Sanya, Yetana? Pasa is Neva Pasa Yatana, right?
Yes.
That's why we learn to understand the truth, to understand that when we talk about dhammas in general, we don't talk about specific moments like seeing. But when we talk about just at that very moment in life or in each moment today, what are there? We can classify at moment of seeing, at moment of hearing, at moment of thinking, and so on. That there must be what as ayatana right there together. And that's just, we talk about one moment. But when we don't talk about just particular moment, there must be citta and cetasika arising together. Citta is manayatana and cetasika is dhammayatana. See, at least like neva sanya, na sanya yatana, no rupa, but there must be citta and cetasika. And any cetasika and there must be each ayatana, each different one. Just to understand how short, how rapid, how very fragile it is. Not permanent, not stable at all. And imagine just one moment, can that which appears is so very rigid, to take it for something like hardness? Not at all. Just at moment of touching the object which is there. In a moment, very short moment, imagine.
Thank you, Achan. And good afternoon, good morning for you, John and Sarah.
Yes, everyone. Sorry, we were a bit late. We got the time wrong. And can you just tell me what the question was at the start?
Yeah, so first I asked about ayatana in general, and then I asked about the moment, the other chittas in the seeing processes, like santirana and sampatichana. At that moment, it's the rupa, which is the chakupasada, still the ayatana, because I think that's the point we need to listen more. So thank you.
And I think the main point is it's always just this moment, the meeting of the Dhammas right now. So at the moment of seeing, there is the meeting, the associating together of the seeing and the eye sense and the visible object and the cetasikas, the inner and outer ayatanas, meeting together and then all gone in a flash. And at the next moment, in that process, meeting again of those realities. So at each moment there is a meeting of citta and cetasikas and other dhammas, depending on the citta at this moment of thinking. Just the meeting of the citta and the cetasikas, and then gone in a flash. Like they give the simile of the balancing on the needle head, the meeting of the dhammas balance on a needle head, and then gone.
I think Tambak's question perhaps relates to the fact that visible object is given in connection with the moment of seeing consciousness, whereas it's not given in connection with other mind moments in that process.
That's right, John. Ờ, 08 với 08 giúp làm MC nhé, bởi vì mình sẽ
Vâng.
dịch Achan.
Không biết có ai có câu hỏi gì thêm về phần Ayatana, về phần xứ này
Chắc
không
bác
ạ?
John vừa nói xong thì có thể là mọi người sẽ đang nói thêm gì đó nữa đã.
I think usually when we talk about the ayatanas or when we read about them, it is about what is apparent. So seeing is apparent, but Sampatichana, Santirana are not apparent. But in any case, still it is the visible object that is experienced at that moment. And still, I sense is the doorway at that moment, the means for it to experience the visible object. But usually it's seeing that is referred to because it's what is apparent.
As I see it, what's important is the fact that the ayatana classification covers all conditioned realities. And that's the point of the classification, to explain conditioned realities in different ways. And the obvious way of explaining visible object in terms of meeting point is in connection with seeing consciousness. That doesn't mean that there's not a meeting when the citta is the ones following the moment of seeing consciousness, but because that moment is not going to be apparent, then the obvious place to fit visible object is with the moment of seeing consciousness in terms of its usefulness to the listener. Yes. And let's keep in mind it is a means of classification. There's no separate reality called ayatana. It's just it's a way of explaining the conditioned realities.
Achan mentioned about the sphere of neither sanya or I don't know how to say that in English.
Neva Sanya,
Niwa
Nasanya.
Sanya.
Right. Yeah. So in that sphere and all the spheres without rupas, there's no rupas that are ayatana.
So just Chitta
Maya.
and Chaitasikas, the Manayatana, the inner
Dhammaya.
ayatana, and Dhamma ayatana, the outer ayatana. At those moments.
Can you say it again, Sarah? I cannot.
Sorry.
Thank
So
you.
at those moments, there are no rupas, so there is just the associating, the meeting of the manayatana, which refers to any citta, and the dhammayatana, the outer ayatana, which in this case refers to all the chaitasikas arising together with the citta. So there is just the meeting of the citta and chaitasikas at those moments.
Thank you.
So manayatana includes all cittas, dhammayatana includes chaitasikas and subtle rupas. But
Mà
in
dạ
this
chắc chắn
case,
sao không phải dạy dịch ạ.
but in this case, no subtle rupas, so it's just the associating of citta and chaitasikas.
Thank you. Vâng, nếu chưa có ai có câu hỏi gì thêm thì con xin hỏi về cái phần xứ này nó liên quan trong cái liên quan tương sinh thập nhị nhân duyên ạ. If there's no question, I'd like to ask about the ayatana in the way of paticca samuppada. Can you explain about this?
So it's this moment, for example, at a moment of ignorance. What is there? There's the thinking, the inner ayatana, the manayatana, the citta, and there is the meeting with the cetasikas, including ignorance at that moment, meeting together. And if there is understanding of ignorance at that moment, again, there is the meeting of the citta and the understanding, the citta and the cetasikas. So it's actually now just what we have been talking about. So even at moments of thinking like now, by considering about ignorance, it is just the meeting of the citta and cetasikas.
Thank you.
And the same at moments of when there is karma, sanchaitana, that's again meeting of cittas and cetasikas, inner and outer ayatanas. Following the moments of seeing and hearing and so on. But perhaps Ajahn would like to add more.
When there's the understanding of the nature of a reality, no doubt about it at all. It has to be as it is. For example, there's no panya right now. So at that very moment, panya cannot be ayatana because it's not there. So no matter whatever is there is ayatana at any moment. So they cannot be just manayatana, right?
Yeah.
That's why the understanding of what is there has to be conditioned to be there together. That's all. And gone instantly. It conditioned a little more, letting go of the very, very firm or very, very strong or rigid. Nothing is like that at all. Just in a split seconds, it's gone. But the accumulation of moment of understanding or attachment or whatever, once it's there and it's gone, it conditions more and more moments to arise again as anusia. Just learn to understand life and each moment in life as it is conditioned moment. Not anyone, nothing is permanent at all. So it's so natural to live this life or next life or other life or unconditioned realities. Just in a moment, only one moment and then gone. And this is the only way to get less and less attachment with ignorance of what is there, because no understanding of the truth at all. It's not there while we are talking about it. It's gone all the time in split seconds. But the nimitta is there, known as it's seeing, it's feeling, it's sanya or memory, and so on. Not realizing the truth, it's not there anymore. So everything is gone. Just be there and then gone. Kanika marana.
Chị xin có câu hỏi Tâm.
So
Tâm ơi,
Achan, Miss Xuân Lan would like to raise a question.
Please.
Thưa Achan, vì sao tâm sở và tâm luôn luôn gắn liền với nhau? Có tâm thì có tâm sở và có tâm sở thì có tâm. Vì như vậy mà vì sao tâm thì được xếp vào nội xứ và tâm sở thì xếp vào ngoại xứ ạ?
Yeah, well, Achan, because the chitta and cetasika is always arise together and fall away together. So why chitta is inner ayatana and other cetasika is outer ayatana? Please help explain. Thank you.
What is the innermost? Now, right now, the innermost. Sanya can be recognized. Feeling can be recognized. What about chitta? Does it out there to be known? That's why even no matter what we are talking about, thinking about, no attention to what is taken for I. So very firm, very enormous, so very strong, because it's not been the object of attention at all. Even now, we talk about it, but still only thinking about it. But the nature, the reality, the truth of that which sees, beginning to think about it, it's there, no shape, no form at all. Not that which is seen, not that which is heard, not that which is touched, but it's there every moment in life, from birth to death, on and on, non-stop, years and years ago. Is it known now? The innermost. Even while sleeping, it's there. No change. The innermost. Can anyone touch it, hear it, taste it? Impossible. Even thinking about it, just the word. What about the nature of that? Any moment, it's there. Experience is what is there. For example, when one wants to try so very, very hard to experience something, what is that? The innermost. Experience each moment. No, see, no. What knows it? Chitta. No thought, even no thought. What is there? Chitta, right? Without chitta, can there be even no thought, no idea, not anything at all? It is there all the time, from moment to moment. But usually we talk about other things, like the idea. See, what is it? Wrong understanding, right understanding. What is it? Is it chitta? Not at all. Chitta is forgotten all the time. That's why even it's there, it doesn't show up to be known, because what it experiences is there. More interesting. That's why, in order to realize the truth of experiencing, chitta, it needs the very firm intellectual understanding, pariyatti, to be able to condition moment of recognizing, begin to attend to the characteristic now, experiencing the object which appears. If we don't talk about it, is there any moment thinking about it? Or thinking about other things? always what is that, how to do this and so on in life. No thought about that, which is the chief of experiencing what is there. Without it, no world, nothing can be experienced at all. Even right now, who's thinking, who attends to the reality, which experiences what is there each moment. And without understanding that the citta, the chief of experiencing the object, without it, no world, nothing appears at all. It takes time to develop, not by anyone, but by different realities in different moments. For now, no attention to that which appears, which is seen, but to that which sees. Different moments. And even sati is not citta. See, that's why without understanding the truth of each reality, how can there be letting go the idea of self or something? Because what are there together is taken for something. No understanding of each different one arising and falling away, which can be realized when there is the understanding of just one reality as it is, more and more to let go the clinging and ignorance about it. And at that moment, right understanding develops by itself, little by little. When there is the idea about how much understanding of what is there now, it's only I again. That's why before each reality is let go, it takes quite a long time with firm confidence of it's not the Cetana or any other Cetasika, but it has to be the reality which is Sati only. Not forget what has been heard and it's conditioned enough to be aware of the nature of that which now as it is, that which experiencing object any moment. Nobody, it cannot be changed around. Its nature is just experience what is appearing. And how long will it take to be Dhammadara? Now, or then, or when, or where, depending on conditions. That's why ignorance has been accumulated years and years ago. So what about understanding what is there as a reality? No one at all has to be developed. How long? See? To just let go. Just very little ignorance and attachment at moment of understanding. Very little at a time. Is it true? That is the way, letting go. Right understanding is there.
And it's quite important to understand about ayatanas referring to whatever arises now, because there are so many strange people have about paticca samuppada through not understanding. For example, ideas about cutting off a Vedana and this and that. But we can see that Vedana is actually an ayatana at every moment in life. There is no way not for a Vedana not to arise at each moment. Pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, or neutral feeling arises. So Vedana is Dhammayatana every moment. Sanya is Dhammayatana at every moment. Clinging is a Dhammayatana whenever it arises. And of course, it's so much more common than anyone has any idea, even now, after seeing and hearing. Clinging arises. So it is Dhammayatana with most cheaters, clinging and ignorance. And this is why the rounds, the vata, continue, the kusala or akusala, the akusala cheaters, karma, and then results, vipaka, round and round and round, life after life, because of ignorance arising most of the day and clinging most of the day. This is why life continues on why there is birth after birth after birth. But actually, it's never my clinging or my ignorance or my understanding. They are just ayatanas arising, meeting together with the citta and then falling away instantly. As Ajahn mentioned, kanika marana, this refers to how there is momentary death of each citta, of each cetasika at each moment. It shows no one there, nothing there, just the arising and meeting of these dhammas and then gone in a flash. So there is kanika marana, kanika samadhi at every moment in life. Whatever arises is momentary. People have ideas of lasting concentration and this and that, but actually each moment of concentration arises and falls away at each moment in life. Ekagata cetasika arises with every citta. It's one-pointed. That's why only one object's ever experienced and then gone. So it's always just for a moment, even if it arises again and again, experiencing the same object, it's still just for a moment.
So would you like to talk about Phassa by way of Paticca or Ayatana by way of Paticca? Any reality by way of Paticca? So we have to understand, if you want to talk about Ayatana by way of Paticca, we have to understand
Please go ahead, Ajahn.
what is ayatana. If there's no understanding, no matter we talk by way of Dhatu or Indriya or whatever, no understanding of it. That's why when we talk about anything, is it a reality? What kind of that reality? And what is its characteristic? So now, if we just talk about the ayatana, how many ayatana?
Dạ 12 xứ ạ.
There are 12 ayatana, Ajahn.
Please say it again.
There are 12 ayatana.
What is that? Is ayatana, is that right?
Yeah, yes, Ajahn.
It cannot arise alone, right? So what are there together must be
Yeah.
ayatana,
Yes,
all of
Ajahn.
them. That's why no matter if you like to understand it or talking about it by way of Paticca, please from the very beginning what are there before ayatana or after ayatana. Because there must be moments, each moment, the last moment, present moment, and future moment. So Paticca before ayatana, what is it? What is there? To understand it by that aspect. Not just
Dạ vô minh nè,
It's the ignorance, Ajahn.
nghe bác xích sư.
so
Chị không biết rồi Tâm.
just talk about the first one, ignorance, avijja, condition what?
Dạ, vô minh duyên hành nè.
It's a khanda. ไม่ใช่ not
Avijja
khanda.
condition.
Sankhara, she said
Sankhara.
sankhara.
Yes, sankhara.
So what is sankhara? When we just talk about paticca, the three links of the round of samsara, the circle of sankhara. So what is sankhara by way of paticca?
Dạ, theo con hiểu thì hành ở đây chỉ đến nghiệp Chetana Ajahn.
As karma too, not
It's a
just
karma.
other chetana, but chetana which is karma, is that right? So we talk about this life and we talk
Yeah.
about what before this life. There must be avijja and there must be karma and sankhara, condition vijnana, this life. The first moment is vijnana, patisanti citta, right? And at that moment, what does it condition the first moment of life, patisanti citta?
Dạ.
Avijja
Thức làm duyên
condition.
cho thức thức làm duyên cho danh sắc à.
Nha Chan hỏi là cái gì làm duyên cho tâm tái tục đấy ạ?
À, hành làm duyên cho tâm tái tục ạ. Hành duyên cho thức.
As my understanding, the sankhara condition for patisanti citta.
And what does patisanti citta condition?
Và thức tái tục làm duyên cho cái gì ạ?
Ông Tám ơi, vừa nãy mình dịch là đúng câu hỏi của Lan, chú Tân Lan là đúng cậu. Tự luận và mình là dịch rồi.
Dạ, thức làm duyên cho danh sắc.
Yeah, patisanti citta condition for the nama and rupa.
This is by way of paticca, but when we talk about general, the nature of avijja, see, can it arise alone?
Dạ, no Ajahn. Nó
That's
sinh
why
với nhiều.
whatever arises needs other reality to be there together. All of them are ayatana, right?
Yeah.
But that cannot be known. That's why when it's known, we can talk about it to understand the way
Dạ,
it
yes.
is. That's why by way of paticca, at moment of birth, even there are cetasikas and rupa, they are all unknown until moment of what? Patisanti Vinyana, condition Nama Rupa, and Nama Rupa, condition what?
Và danh sắc duyên cho lục nhập 6 căn ạ.
See, that's why just not want to understand past at moment of learning about Paticca or Ayatana, but understand the meaning of Ayatana, no matter by what way. To begin to understand life from moment of birth on and on, the object does not appear, but when there is the understanding of Ayatana, even they are all Ayatana, but nothing appear to be known, because they are all Bhagwanka, after Patisantichitta, even as Nama and Rupa and so on. That's why without all this, can there be Ayatana?
Dạ no Achan.
And can we say that this is by way of Paticca?
Dạ yes Achan.
To learn just to understand the truth, that's all in life. So now you can just learn about it at moment of hearing and considering, understanding what is meant by way of Paticca. It's just a link of past life and this life and future life, on and on, on and on. Is there any doubt? Consider, begin again, begin again, begin again. That's the way develop again and again, a little more again, a little more again.
Dạ rất là khó hả Achan?
It's too difficult, Ajahn.
Can it be understood?
Yes.
Firmer and firmer. It's just right now. There must be Namarupa now. There must be Phassa now. There must be Ayatana now. And Ayatana condition what? Feeling, Vedana. See? Just the way it is at any moment in life. But talk about the link, the past condition, the present, and the present condition, the future. On and on and on. As long as they are still avijja. What about those who can recite Paticca, but what about the understanding of what is there right now? At all? That's right, understanding the reality right now. That can be the understanding of the past condition and the present condition, which will condition further in the future. And the future will be the present, and then when it's gone, the next life, it's the past life, on and on. So this life now is the future life of what? Past life. And it will be past life of what? Of what? Next life, that's all. The truth is the truth, no matter when. So it's not just only the word, but the understanding of the way it is, from now to the future. It's the Ayatana now.
Yes, Ajahn.
See, understanding, no matter when, there must be Ayatana.
Lan, let's look at what seems so difficult or so confusing. So if we're talking about paticca samuppada, when we're talking about sankhara, it's referring to the karma that has brought the karma in the past, which has brought results in this life. So the patisandhi citta is conditioned by the past kusala or akusala karma. At the moment of that past kusala or akusala karma, there was the meeting of the citta, the cetasikas, including the cetana that was strong enough to bring the result by way of karma pata. But only when there is a result does that karma bring its effect, its result. So the first moment of this life, the patisandhi citta, is the result of that karma. And at that moment of birth, there is the meeting of that citta and cetasikas. So the patisandhi citta conditions the cetasikas, the other vipaka cetasikas. So it conditions them. Actually, they condition the citta too by sahajata pachya. The citta and cetasikas condition each other. And just at that moment of birth only, the rupas conditioned by that same karma arise at the same moment as the citta. Usually in life, for example, at a moment of seeing, the eye sense and the visible object must have arisen before the citta, the seeing, arises to experience the visible object. But at the moment of birth, the patisandhi citta and the three groups of rupas conditioned to arise at that moment, the heart-based group, the masculinity or femininity group, and the body sense group, they all arise at the same moment. The patisandhi citta in a paticca samuppada, they refer to it as the vijnana, the result of the karma. It conditions them at its moment of arising. Without that citta arising, there couldn't be the arising of the vipaka cetasikas or those groups of rupas. So what we have learned before about different conditions applies when we're talking about ayatanas and paticca samuppada. So at that moment, they associate together the citta, the cetasikas, and those rupas, and then gone in a flash. And the bhavanka cittas follow unknown, the citta associating with the cetasikas moment after moment. And when it talks about conditioning passa, without the birth consciousness, there couldn't be any passa. So it conditions the passa too. And actually the passa conditions the citta and other chaitasikas, because passa is ayatana at every moment in life. It arises at every moment. And because of passa contacting a particular object, other cittas arise, feelings arise, and so on. But everything we have learned about passa arising at each moment, Vedana arising at each moment, Sanya arising at each moment, we have to appreciate it's just the same, but this is referring to paticca samuppada, past life, present life, future life, how the circle continues on, the arising and meeting of different cittas and chaitasikas, visible object, eye sense, moment of seeing, and so on. So it's the same, but different emphasis. So we have to just understand what is being referred to here. Vijnana is just referring to the patisandhi and the vipaka cittas that follow it, but by implication that includes the chaitasikas that arise together with the citta, and the nama refers to those chaitasikas, the vipaka namas, and rupas to those that are conditioned by the karma to arise at that moment of birth. So once we're quite clear about what is being referred to, what we have learnt about realities arising by different conditions, and what we have just learnt about ayatanas, it all applies, just different aspects, different ways of looking at the way that life unfolds, that's all. Do you have any more questions, Sun Lam or Hằng?
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Con xin hỏi câu này nữa, cô Sarah. Như vậy thì xứ Ayatana có đồng nghĩa với lại pháp không ạ? Nó có thể hiểu nó là một cái cách phân loại khác thôi, nhưng mà nó cũng cái pháp thực tại của nó vẫn là pháp. Như vậy thì có thể hiểu xứ nó như là một pháp không cô Sarah?
Yeah. I have a question that can you say that, can you understand that ayatana is mentioned as another aspect of reality now? Is it right?
It is pointing to realities now, and it's particularly pointing to the coming together or meeting of different realities. So, for example, you asked about citta, the innermost reality. It cannot just arise on its own. It has to be associated. It has to meet the chaitasikas, referred to as outer ayatanas, in order to arise. They have to condition each other. So just like at birth, it's the same throughout life. There has to be the meeting of citta and chaitasikas. So citta is always ayatana. The chaitasikas that are arising now are always ayatanas. So passa, vedana, sanya, and so on are always ayatanas at every moment in life. We can say there are 12 ayatanas, 6 pairs of ayatanas, but actually in truth, every reality arising now is an ayatana. So each chaitasika arising now is dhammayatana, but passa is ayatana, vedana is ayatana. So it depends how we count them. So it's right now, pointing out how no one there, no one in control, just the meeting of different dhammas in a flash and gone. That's the point of talking about ayatanas.
He also asked, because ayatana refers to what is real. So is it the same than Dhamma?
It's the same in the sense that each ayatana is Dhamma. Whatever we read about in as ayatana is Dhamma, but emphasizing on the meeting of Dhammas. And it's actually an important point because I don't know in Vietnamese, but in English, almost every dictionary I've ever looked at has wrong definitions of ayatanas, and they talk about Dhammayatanas, including ideas, and they use ideas as translation, and lots of misunderstanding and confusion. So one has to be clear that whenever ayatana is mentioned, it's always referring to reality, always referring to Paramattha Dhamma, and in particular, the meeting of Paramattha Dhammas.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. Như vậy thì nếu mà từng pháp một thì riêng lẻ thì không gọi là xứ được, mà xứ là khi nào có sự gặp gỡ hay là sự hội tụ của nhiều pháp lại cùng một lúc và cùng một khoảnh khắc. Dịch giùm chị ha.
It means that each separate reality cannot say as ayatana, but when we mention about the meeting point, is the ayatana, is it right?
Each reality that is arising now, we can say it is ayatana because it meets with other realities. That's the point. It cannot arise alone. Seeing cannot arise. So it is ayatana because it meets with what is seen and the eye sense now and the Chaitasikas. So it's an example too of when we read texts or translations, how there has to be clear and firm understanding. Actually, even when the CMA, the translation of Abhidhamma Sangha was written, everything about ayatanas was wrong, but I was able to help write and give the detailed explanations from the Dhamma Sangani and to show that it can only refer to realities. So one has to be confident that ayatanas are just referring to realities and the meeting of the realities.
Thank you, Sarah. It's clear.
Yes, Sarah. Nhưng mà trong các cái tâm siêu thế đó, khi mà bắt đối tượng là niết bàn đó, thì lúc đó niết bàn không phải là xứ. Thưa cô Sarah, có thể giải thích thêm không?
At the moment of Lokuttara Chitta, it's experience the Nibbana. So why Nibbana cannot be ayatana? Please.
It is Nibbana at that moment. It is the reality. So Dhammayatana can also be Nibbana. At that moment, there is the meeting of the Lokuttara Citta, the Chaitasikas, and Nibbana. So Dhammayatana can be any Chaitasikas, any subtle rupas,
And
Nibbana at the moment of experience, because it's a Dhamma, even though it's the unconditioned Dhamma.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. Tức là ý chị Xuân Lan muốn hỏi đấy là thực tại mới hay sao à? Không chị, mình không nhớ cái chi tiết đó.
Không em, tại vì chị tưởng đâu là cái niết bàn không nằm trong pháp xứ, chị tưởng đâu là niết bàn nó thuộc về ngoại xứ á.
Em cũng hiểu ý chị. Không phải là thực tại mới đâu.
Someone has just put a note to say that ayatanas are not a new reality, but actually at each moment of life, ayatana is
Yes,
a
new.
new reality. The chitta now is not the same as the chitta a moment ago. So each chitta is ayatana, experiencing its particular object, different from the chitta a moment ago.
I think Sunlan just had said something that makes me think that she's not yet clear about the distinction between inner and outer ayatana. They are different from the way that Dhamma are classified as ayatana. So she thinks that because she knows that Nibbana is outer ayatana, but she doesn't know that it's a ayatana. So I think she's confused a little bit on this point.
For example, at the moment of the Magga Chitta arises, the Magga Chitta is a new chitta, different from the chitta before. It is inner ayatana, the innermost reality. The Chaitasikas have to arise together with it. They have to condition each other, sati, panya, virya, and so on. They are all outer ayatanas. And Nibbana, that is experienced at that moment. It's not visible object experience, it's Nibbana. So Nibbana is the outer ayatana, Dhammayatana. If we're talking about nama dhammas only, chitta can be the innermost, the inner ayatana.
Sarah, another classification is Pasada Rupa is inner ayatana, and the outer, it means that the object of the experience. Other Rupa is outer ayatana.
Yes, yes. Yes. So the eye sense is the inner ayatana.
Yeah.
But the visible object is the outer ayatana that is experienced. It's the inner ayatana, the eye sense. It's the doorway, the means for the visible object to be experienced. The doorway and the base. Perhaps Ajahn may add more about why it's inner.
Where is it? In or out? Chakupasada.
Chakupasada inside our body, is it correct?
So it's the in, not the out. Right?
Yes.
So when we talk about life keeps on going, and we think we're talking about Paticcasamuppada, it can be summed up as Kilesa, condition Kamma, and Kamma, condition Vipaka. Any moment as past life, present life, or future life. That's why, what is the past for Paticcasamuppada? To condition the present, and what are the present reality which condition the next life, future life. Kilesa, Kamma, Vipaka, and as long as there is Kilesa, after Vipaka, there must be Kilesa again, Kamma again, Vipaka again, Kilesa again, Kamma again, Vipaka again. That's why we learn to understand the truth. What is the core of that which keeps on going? Kilesa, as long as it's there. There must be Kamma, and as long as there is Kamma, there must be Vipaka. And as long as Kilesa is still there, not eradicated yet, After vipaka, seen, heard, and so on, kilesa is there again. That's all. And we learn to understand each reality by different aspects in order to have firm confidence of it. No matter when we talk about Patisantichitta and we understand Ayatana, no doubt, there must be at that moment, just in a moment, what are Ayatana, not only one. If it's just one, it cannot be Ayatana. So after birth moment, what is there on and on and on each moment? Condition. Now, this life, for next life to be. So the most important is understand the nature of reality, which cannot be taken for self or someone or something at all. They are all gone at once as soon as they have arisen. So when we talk about one reality by way of Paticca is there still any doubt about it? Or now, because of understanding more aspects of just a reality, even it's by way of that or that or that, it can be known as it is. By way of Thatu, by way of Ayatana, by way of Paticca, reality cannot be changed at all. But there is one moment of one reality to arise and gone, never to return. So the past is not the present and it's not the future. The present is not the past or the future, and the future is not the past or the future of next life. But the most important is that this is only intellectual understanding to learn to get closer to understand what is there now. So very close, the world is here. Moment of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking, not far away at all. And it's not forever there. It's gone all the time. So only what appears can be known as it is, whether it is that which experiences the object or that which cannot experience the object. Because no matter what are in this world, the other world, anywhere, there are two different kinds of reality. Each one cannot be taken for something or someone or self at all, because as soon as it has arisen, it's gone. So how can it be something or anything? Because it's not there anymore. And this is the only way to let go the clinging to that which appears, because it's not there. Even there is attachment to that which is gone is not known at all. That even attachment is just in a moment and then gone.
Dunlan, I think it's very helpful for everyone when you say what you find difficult and ask for more explanations, because if you find what is said difficult or confusing, for sure it will be the same for others. So we appreciate your bringing up the points and the questions. And Hung too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Achan. Con đã hiểu hơn được rồi ạ. Nhưng mà vẫn còn rất là khó ạ.
I have a better understanding. It's a little bit clearer, but it's still too difficult.
These are all very deep topics.
Yes.
So we can just, if we're talking about ayatanas, a little bit clearer, or if we're just talking about different conditions for the arising of dharmas, a little clearer, or if we're talking about just what a dharma is, a little clearer, or paticca samuppada on its own. But when we realize that actually all these topics are pointing to the realities now to be understood, then we can see it's very deep, not straightforward, not simple as we may have thought in the beginning. So this is what is meant by Abhidhamma, the very subtle dharmas, the meeting of different dharmas, the rounds of different dharmas, the way that they condition each other. And the point of, for anyone who is new here, the only point of discussing about these different dharmas like the ayatanas or paticca samuppada is not to learn terms and details and dictionary definitions, but the point is just to appreciate now that whatever arises has to be by particular conditions and has to be the way it is. In truth, no one here, no one there, just different moments of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching, different objects experienced, each one falling away instantly. So the understanding a little more about ayatanas helps to let go of the strong clinging to an idea of someone who is in control.
Indeed, I think this topic of ayatana is very deep. And when we talk about dhatu, it gets even more confusing, especially about the manodhatu, the three kinds of chitta.
Manovinyana and Vinyana Dhatu, right?
Vinyana dhatu refers to all chittas.
All those chittas not yet mentioned, because there is already a dhatu for seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting and touching, and then all other, and then there are three chittas mentioned, as you say, those that have can only experience an object through sense door, and then the manovinyana dhatu refers to all other chittas. So just different ways of counting dhatus. Again, whatever arises and falls away is dhamma, is dhatu, and they can be counted and classified in different ways.
The other day, we were having a discussion about rupas, and that's one detail we wonder. So the akasa rupa, which arises with groups of rupas and which separates different kalapas, indeed rupas and paramattha dhamma. What about the outer space? Is it considered a rupa?
I'll let Ajahn answer this one. I think that it is also a rupa, but so two kinds of rupas, but I'll let Ajahn speak about it.
It's the akasa. See, we're talking about akasa. What is it? It's the akasa. That's why we learn more about each word. The difference between the akasa, nothing at all in it, and the akasa in between, the kalapa, the group of rupa. Is there no akasa in between rupa, the group of rupas? See, it is asapava rupa, right? How many asapava rupa? That's why we learn to understand what is there, that it's there, but it's different. Without the arising and falling away of different groups of rupa, can there be that paricheta rupa? Another word, akasa. So what condition it different from the akasa now is known as akasa, that anything can go through it because it is akasa. Begin to understand what is there as whether it's real and whether even it's real, is it different and what condition it. So the akasa, which is not conditioned, no, but it's not parichitta rupa. That's why it is different from that, which there cannot be any rupa at all. Anyone can go through it. And can anyone go through the paricheta rupa? That's why two words about it. One is sankata and the other is asankata. And sankata is that which is conditioned. And asankata is that which is not conditioned by anyone or any condition at all. It's just there. Is it real? Because it's there. That's why learn to understand what is there, which is different. The parichita rupa, the akasa in between kalapas. It can be at moment when different groups of rupa arise and fall away. Only that. Without the arising and falling away of different groups, can there be paricheta rupa in between the groups of rupa? That's why we learn to understand the difference between what is there and to know that why the groups of rupa cannot get together, inseparable, but it is separable because of akasa in between. We learn to understand the truth, or we try to change it to be the other way. No paricheta rupa at all. But it's not that which we experience, that there's nothing in it at all. The plane can fly, and the bird can fly, and everything can pass it. Is it true? We just talk about that, which is there as akasa. It's not patvi dhatu, no taste, not anything at all.
And
Is
so the Paricheda Akasa Rupa, which separates the groups of rupas, is conditioned by whatever conditions those groups of rupas that it separates. If it's conditioned by utu, if the groups are conditioned by utu, then the Akasa Rupa is conditioned by utu, separating those groups that have arisen. But the outer space, the space in the sky, isn't conditioned by utu, or so it is the asankata, the unconditioned akasa rupa. So when we say usually the only unconditioned dharma is nibbana, usually we don't mention the akasa rupa, the outer space. And when Ajahn asked how many rupas are asabhava, so 18 rupas have sabhava, have a characteristic that appears and can be known. For example, I sense, visible object, and so on. But 10 rupas, including the akasa rupa, the paricheda akasa rupa, are asabhava. They don't have a characteristic that can be known, but it's still rupa, separating and dependent on the groups of rupas that it separates. So more deep topics. If there was no akasa rupa, so where we are sitting, we wouldn't be able to get up from the chair and walk through the room. So, but because of that open akasa or space, we can move around, go through the doorways.
Are you speaking, Achan?
now very well clear explanation, Khun Sir. Does anyone like to experience Akasa? Or does, or just want to have it as aramana? Akasa, Nanya, Yatana, Rupa, or Arupa Jhana? So we learn a little more about the teachings of the Buddha, about everything. At this moment, thinking about the Akasa, nothing is there at all. It's the Chitta which is thinking about that, not about hardness or softness.
And at the moment of thinking about it, thinking about akasa, the chitta is ayatana, the cetasikas are ayatana, but the akasa is not ayatana because it's just the idea, the story about akasa, not reality. So this is why the path is all about the understanding of realities, the understanding of ayatanas meeting together, not just the thinking about ideas.
Thank you so much, Achan
ค่ะ
Chonentera.
จุลินทราอนุโมทนาค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ
take